Happy Christmas. Welcome back to the Irish Racing YouTube channel, recording here Friday the 27th. So kind of halfway through, I suppose, the festive racing just before day two's action kicks off. And we're going to preview Saturday and Sunday's card from the Irish Racing mainly. And I'm delighted to be joined by Paddy Flood to go through the action. Paddy, you having a nice Christmas?
Yeah, nice, peaceful, quiet Christmas. Thanks, Sam.
Very good, very good. And I suppose we've had one day of racing, St. Stephen's Day, and it was definitely a cracker. We saw Constitution Hill, Lossiemouth, the King George as well. I suppose firstly Constitution Hill before we go into tomorrow's and Sunday's racing. What did you make of that one?
I suppose they were both great races to watch because we could see them. We couldn't see it in Leopardstown or Aintree or anywhere. No, look, it's listen, there was a lot of hullabaloo about Constitution Hill, this, that, and the other. You'd swear he was the first horse in history ever to have setbacks, you know. I think I said it on our season preview at the start that he's still the best hurdler. He's got state man by 10. If you go back to his form with John Bon, who's an absolute star, he's him up his sleeve. So he doesn't have to improve. He just has to maintain a certain level to win. Now, I did think Lossiemouth didn't run a race. I think she is better than that. But I think Constitution Hill he'll improve again for a run, first run of the year. You know, travelled, winged hurdles. He's a hurdler of a generation, and hopefully he can stay fit and sound.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I don't think Lossiemouth, she didn't really look happy, did she? She had kind of ears pinned back and she was kind of flat out, but still, you'd imagine Constitution Hill will come on an awful lot as well for that. So I can't really see her reversing the form. But look, we better go into the weekend stuff. We'll be under pressure for time otherwise. But I think we'll go into Leopardstown first, I suppose, on Saturday. Obviously, the Savills is the big race of the day. But just to give a quick mention to this first maiden hurdle, I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Cade Doughty, I went to Willie's there probably a month or two ago now, and he gave this Cade Doughty as his dark horse to follow. Said he's very like Majbird. Interesting, he actually ran in the same race as Majbird OT, and JP obviously bought the two of them out of the same one and fell on debut when sent off odds on. But Willie also has Calix de Laborie, and to say at the same visit he gave him really, really favourable mentions as well. So I'd say that maiden hurdle could be a fair showdown. Interesting to see how they price it up as well. Calix de Laborie obviously beat Sholin when he won his bumper in Ballinrobe. It's actually the same bumper Mystical Power won last year as well, so probably not one for betting on for me, but definitely a maiden hurdle to watch going forward there. But I think we'll go straight into one of the big races of the day, the Savills hurdle. This is a really interesting contest. I think we've obviously got winner from 2 years ago, Home by the Lee, back again. He won the 2022 Lismullen on his way to winning this, and he's got the exact same prep coming back here again. Bob Ollinger will reoppose again. He was up against him in the Lismullen as well. Hewick as well, having his first run for Tara Lee Cogan, taking over the licence from Shark Hanlon. Don't see him too often over hurdles, but he's an interesting one in here. Paddy, I suppose we'll start off with the favourite, Home by the Lee. He can be a bit of a funny horse, but he looks to be in good form at the moment.
Yeah, he's a horse. When he wants to put his best foot forward, he wins. You know, that sort of way. I thought Danny was very good in him in Navan. JJ wasn't around, he was injured for it. But I actually think he won it easier than he's ever won it. And it's the same sort of field it's been for years, you know, for 2 or 3 years. Travelled much better, jumped really well. Uric is the interesting one. Nicer ground, back over hurdles. It's not ideal, but he's that type of horse that he's not a big chasing type. So, you know, sometimes if a horse transitions to fences, you always hear, oh, he's going to be a big chaser. And then when they go back, they can be a bit too careful over a hurdle and a bit clumsy. He's small and nimble, so he's really interesting. But I think if Home by the Lee shows up like he did in Navan, he wins. And I'd say Hewick, good each way. He's probably a little reverse forecast there for you, Emma.
Yeah, it mightn't be a bad shout. I agree with you there. I think Home by the Lee, like he can kind of, I don't know, is he in bad moods or what, but he seemed to travel fair well the last day of the Lismullen. And like I was looking in, like Bob Ollinger, I suppose, another big protagonist in this. Like his form at the trip is definitely a bit questionable. I think he's only tried the kind of 3 miles twice. I think once was as a novice in Punchestown. He pulled up that day. And then in 2022, when he ran against Home by the Lee in this race and beaten about 20 lengths that day, so he definitely has a bit to prove at the trip. Like he was in savage form last year, but this might be a bit of a different test. He was beaten fairly well by Home by the Lee, and they've met, I think, 4 times, himself and Home by the Lee, and the only time Bob's actually got the better of him was when he was getting £9 for him in last year's Lismullen. So I think, Home by the Lee might be a bit of an underrated one in this kind of stayers division. Like even in the stayers last year, might be forgotten about. He actually ran a great race that day as well. If he jumps out in good form, I suppose he'll take the beating here. Uick, like you said, you don't see him over 2 hurdles too much. He did run a big race in the French champion hurdle last year, though, so interesting to go here. I'd say they were keen enough to avoid the 2 big boys in the chase, and decided to go for this one as well. But I'd be a little bit worried just about he ran in the Liverpool hurdle last year as well, and just didn't seem to like it at all that day for whatever reason. But interesting to see how he'll go there as well. But no, I think we're in agreement there. I'd say Home by the Lee is worthy favourite, and he'll take a fair bit of beating in that one. But we'll go on to the big chase of the day, the Savills. Definitely a showdown. Galopin Des Champs and Fact to Foil. Bookies 5-4 Galopin Des Champs, Fact to Foil 11-8. I think they're about joint favourites in other places as well. But Galopin Des Champs, I suppose, defending his crown, but Fact to Foil obviously got the better of him in the John Durkin. Paddy, I know you were a massive fan of Fact to Foil. You kind of mentioned the season preview. He was your horse to follow for the year, and he's proven you right so far anyway.
Yeah, he's I'd say he's a special horse, Emma. But look, Galopin lost nothing in defeat, and Spillane Tower. To be fair to Spillane Tower yesterday, he didn't disgrace himself. He just looked obviously in better company, and I'd say that he'll come on a hell of a lot from that. So I wouldn't be knocking the form. The thing about this race is they both love Leopardstown. Fact to Foil, last year was so good around there, and Galopin was probably his best run last year was probably in Leopardstown. So it's a real showdown of the big guns, and I'd say we'll have whatever happens here. One of these it'll be sharp price favourite, whichever wins on the day. Look, it's a good race. But it looks like it's going to be between the two. And be interested to see how they ride them. I think Fact to Foil's win in Punchestown was better than it looked because Derek O'Connor and Martin Brazel's horse just never left him alone. He kept looking for his spot, and Mark really didn't get into a rhythm, that sort of way. And then he got knocked down turning in. He had to pick up again, and then showed a fair bit of heart now to win. So he would have learned a hell of a lot. Leopardstown, big wide open galloping track. You presume Paul will be very handy. Mark will probably just track him away, and whoever's good enough from the back at last will win it. But I'm still sticking with the Young Pretender. As much as I love Galopin Des Champs, I think this horse could be very special. Like he's on the way up. Galopin Des Champs surely not on the way down. He seems to have kept his level of form. So it looks like Ireland might have a stranglehold again on the Gold Cup, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Like you kind of mentioned that he's formed. Like I thought he's running the John Durkin Galopin Des Champs might have been maybe his even best ever run in that race. Like he often gets beaten in Punchestown, but like how hard is it for a horse? Like I suppose any horse to maintain like that high level of ability. Like he seems to be going like 3 years gone on and now. They were maybe questioning him last year even after beating in the John Durkin, but came back and did it again and again. Even going up to the Gold Cup last year, people were saying, "Oh, he's had a hard year. He surely won't do it again at Cheltenham," but he keeps pulling it out. Like he must be a really special horse to be able to keep putting these performances in, year out, day in, day out.
Oh, he is, Emma. Like, I'm sure you've seen him in Willie Mullins's. He doesn't look like your Denman or your Cato Star, that big, strong beast of an animal. He's like a long-distance runner, He's narrow, he's hard fit. He's not the biggest in the world, but yet he's brave. He can take offence by the roots. It doesn't bother him, that sort of way. So I'd say that probably has a lot to do with it, that he's a very good constitution. I'd say his limbs are all very good, whereas the bigger horses and heavier horses can tend to have a lot more issues later on in their career. This guy, he's a freak, basically. What he did last year at Cheltenham, to race that handy in the Gold Cup and go that fast and then go to the last and stand outside the wings, land and find another gear, he's special. But I think this Factor 5, like I said before, he skipped, a year of practice, if you want for a better word, over hurdles, straight into fences, and it's just now you'll start to see the best of him. So it's a race. Look, last year the Savills was probably the race of the year. This could be the same.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to go up to watch it. I remember I was in Leopardstown last year to watch it as well, and Paul Townend kind of changed the tactics that day. I think they were like they had been riding Galopin kind of handily all the way through his career up to that, but Paul kind of booked out and made all, and geez, it was devastating, the performance, beating Jerry Clom that day. Hard to believe he was 6-4 on the day as well, but it'll be classic. I'm in the Galopin Des Champs camp. I think, look, Factor 5 really, really impressed me. I thought I had a few question marks about him coming up to the John Durkin, but like you said, his constitution, he showed heart to battle it out as well when Splans Tower came to him. But I can't desert on Galopin Des Champs. But before we move on from this, actually, I meant to ask you about the King George. Paul Townend's riding that, I thought was unbelievable. I thought they had maybe let the LA Francais get away a bit, but Paul seemed to have gotten the fractions just right in Bamber, just up on the line. It was class, wasn't it?
Amazing race. Probably the most exciting race yesterday, anyways. James Reevely, to be fair to him, done everything right. He got the horse into that rhythm that horse likes, because if that horse doesn't get into a rhythm, he doesn't run his race. But I think in running they were saying, they're letting him get away. There was nothing there could go with him, to be honest, because the horses that were second and third weren't travelling well enough. And then when you're stuck behind them, if you pull out and go, well, then you've probably gone too soon. So it's a catch-22 for riders, really. And Paul was so brave, he just tipped away. But I didn't think he'd get him. I didn't think. And then when I see him landing at the second last throw, maybe. And James just needed a big jump at the last, but Paul got the big jump and the quicker jump through the air, and kind of broke Ilya Francis' heart, really. He might struggle to come back from that.
Yeah, it was actually tough watching him, because he was so brave from the front, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was good. Like he's a smashing horse to watch, and a hard horse to ride against, because yourself, we're going too quick here. And I think the time suggested. I think the time is very fast. Yesterday, even though they were saying they were letting them get away, I think it could have been, was it 10 seconds quicker than the Cato Star or something like that. It was a proper test, and some training performance from Joseph with that horse. Like, he probably could have given an Ergamine a rattle now when you're looking at it. He'd instead going to that line. So, it was a smashing race to watch, and it was kind of intriguing that all the way around as no one was following the French horse, and then you didn't even see. I didn't even see Banbridge till the turn in. That's how good of a ride it was.
Yeah, it was the same. I actually backed Splans Tower, but like you said, I wouldn't take away too much from it. It was like a tough, like the way the race was run, it was really, really tough for me. I thought, like stepping into like up again. Obviously John Durkin was a quality race, but over the 3 miles around Kempton, it can be really, really tough. And yeah, I'd be willing to forgive Splans Tower for that one. Yeah, it was a cracking race. But we'll go back to Saturday's action. I think we'll go to Limerick now for the other grade 1 on the day, the Faugheen Novice Chase. That's the 140, yeah. So the favourite in here, Impere Pass, Willie Mullins, Darrell Jacob, coming over to take the ride. Willie's a really strong hand, and he's got plenty in here. Sam Majest, the second favourite for Danny Mullins, around 4-1. Mirazor West, another interesting runner, obviously a brother of Fernie Hollow. Hasn't really maybe lived up to that hype yet, but still not a bad quality horse. Feely Maguire takes the ride on Good Land. I thought that was interesting for Barry Connell, and there's a few more in there. Search for Glory for Gordon Elliott as well. I thought it looked a big enough price at 10-1, but I suppose this Impere Pass, Paddy, it was a bit of a surprise for me that they kept him hurdling last year. They thought he might have been a champion hurdler. Didn't quite pan out, but his chasing debut was really impressive, I thought, this year.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good. He done everything you wanted a horse to do first time out over a fence. He's got a hell of a lot of ability, this horse. When he puts it all together, he's top notch. I think it's great because when we were riding, 10, 15 years ago, you didn't really want to go to Limerick. You wanted to be in Leopardstown as a jockey. And now they've this great race, and every year it turns up a great result, and it's a proper Grade 1, and I think it's a testament to the track and everyone to get a Grade 1 there, and obviously the Grade 14 named after him, so it gives it an extra bit of oomph, But I think he should be the winner. To be honest, if he jumps around, I think he wins.
Yeah, he'll be hard to beat, but I suppose like the 8 runners makes it interesting for the punters. Like you get the each way places. I was actually a bit surprised Sam Majest was the second favourite. Look, obviously a quality horse, but kind of rated maybe 140 over hurdles. Interesting. Danny takes the ride. You imagine he would have maybe had the choice of a couple of them from Willie's, but I don't know. I just reckon there might be better ones in there. Like that Search for Glory was definitely overpriced there for Gordon Elliott and Sam Ewing. Like he beat Sam Majest on Chasing Davy, wasn't it, in Galway?
Yeah.
And then he went on, he was second in the Florida Pearl, obviously a 3-runner race, but still not a bad run for Gordon. Obviously the horse we didn't that they may be disappointed a bit yesterday, but I don't know, I just think he could be one to step forward again. I thought 10-1 about him. Waterford Whispers, another one of 14-1, probably one maybe watch the market with him. He was obviously a quite a good hurdler. And probably better than his mark suggests. I think he's rated 135. Obviously, second in the Martin Pipe to Better Days Ahead, which looks pretty good for him now. He had, I suppose, a good enough introduction. He was behind in Atlantique on Chasing debut. But you'd imagine he's just stepped forward a fair bit from that as well. I suppose the market will probably be the most informative with him. But I think he's probably a horse who could be a better chaser than he was a hurdler as well. But yeah, I agree. I think Imperi Pass will take all the beating, but definitely some nice each way shouts in there as well. You got the 8 places. It's probably worth having a go at something each way. I was just going to give a mention to one in the next in Limerick as well, the Tim Duggan, the big handicap of the week in Limerick. Listed handicap chase over the 2.5 miles, 2 mile 3. Big field in here. You got the 15 runners, but I just thought the one down the bottom there, Dancing Jeremy for James Fahey, was interesting. Bottom of the weight, Philly Donovan taking off 5 pounds. He'll only carry 9 stone 10. He's a pound out of the handicap, all right. But I just thought he was really progressive last year over fences for James. He went up 10 pounds after a really impressive win in Thurles. He beat Mount Frisco that day. You kind of thought maybe, oh geez, that might be the end if he's winning now, but he went on then, he ran really well when he split Hack Rate Attacks, was it, and Let's Go Champ. Like the two of them actually went on to win a Punchestown on their next start. So I just thought, I think his form last year, looking back on it now, looks quite strong. Like the horses he was kind of finishing in and around all were fairly progressive. He had a nice kind of introductory run at Listowel in a qualified riders race to maybe get him ready for this one. But yeah, I think his form looks progressive. I think with very little weight in his back, he seems to run his best on nicer conditions as well. So I think, I'm not sure price he'll be Dancing Jeremy, but he could have a bit of a chance there at the big handicap in Limerick. But I think we're kind of finished with Saturday, Paddy, unless you had any handicappers you wanted to give a mention to as well before we go on.
On one there in Limerick on Saturday, Eric McNamara, he's dynamite. Weights have plenty. He's got plenty in the weights, but he's a nice horse. And the young kid riding him, Callum Hogan, is one to watch as well. Now he's a really stylish, good rider. Had a winner there yesterday. Eric's horse are flying. As I said, he's got plenty up in the weights, but I think he's still might just be ahead of the handicapper. And he is one I'll probably have a few quid on.
Very good. So that's in the 250. He's dynamite. Yeah, Callum Hogan. I was actually down in Eric's a few weeks ago. He gave him a good mention, right? He's dynamite. And yeah, Callum, definitely a lad going the right way after making the change to riding over jumps. But we'll go on to Sunday. So I'm back to some graded action at Leopardstown. We got the declarations in there this morning. I think the first race, sorry, that's Limerick. The first race was the Mayor's Hurdle, if I can get it up here now. It was 120. So yeah, grade 3 Mayor's Hurdle over 2 mile 4, and just got it priced up here now. First time seeing the prices for this. Jatara, kind of as expected, one of the market leaders for this. She won it in 2022, I think 2 years ago. Or was it last year? It was last year. Yeah, she was novice last year. Sorry, but she was she kind of sets the standard here, I suppose. Rated 145. She looks fairly well in at the waist, but a lot of joy for Willie. Has been in great form of late as well, winning her last 2 on the bounce. And I thought July Flowers was a really, really interesting one as well. for Henry coming back from France. Actually started life with Henry after went to France then, and Henry brought her back again. So she's definitely an interesting runner as well. But plenty of mares in here. With good profiles. Paddy, what do you think of it?
Your top mare, didn't you tip her up in not too long ago and was good? She's 138 now. I honestly think she's an improver. She's still improving away. I know she was beat the last day, and she was favourite, but I'd still give her a chance. You know, that it's a quite an open looking contest, you know.
Horsley that beat her last day, I'd say they were saying he could even be a champion hurdle horse. Like, so no shame in that either.
Yeah, you know, and she's a cracking type of filly. You know, she's real racy and nice. And what price is she there, Emma?
She's 15-2 in the first place.
Yeah, like, you know, she's probably the one I'd go with, to be honest.
Yeah, she's interesting. I suppose, given the penalty might be a bit of a downer for her, but she's only a 4-year-old, like you said. And she had, we were kind of talking about her the last day we were on for Downroy. Like her juvenile hurdle form, like it's not bad at all. She was finishing in and around the likes of Nürburgring and a few other top class ones. So you can see the case for her. I just think Tatara could be fairly hard to beat here. Like she's rated superior to these, and look, I know she's probably disappointed a bit in the Lismullen. But she had been running well on the flat before that, and just looking back to her novice hurdling form, like she was finishing with the likes of Jade de Grugy, and she didn't finish too far behind Ballyburn one day either. So I think if Jessie can get her back to, like, she obviously didn't really want to race in the Lismullen, but if she can get back to her best, I think she could take a bit of beating here. I'm a big fan of Lotta Joy, but I don't know. I think maybe stepping up in grade again, she has a little bit more to find. But I was looking into this July Flowers. I was kind of mentioning her for Henry. Like she actually started her life with Henry. She ran in that grade 2 bumper at Aintree. And then she went to France. I don't know, was she sold or was the owner French based or whatever, but went over to France anyway, but ended up, like, she was a very decent mare in France. She actually finished third in the French champion hurdle, not beaten far by Hewick that day. But Henry bought her back then for, I think it was over 300,000 anyway at the Goff summer sale. So I don't know, she's an interesting one. I was hoping she might have been a bit of a bigger price, but the bookies aren't taking too much of a chance now there with 9-2. But yeah, that's interesting that Henry puts her straight in here as well. She could be definitely one to watch.
300 grand's only cheap nowadays, Emma.
Yeah, she's like,
look at them, all the Potter sales.
That's very true, I suppose. Yeah, you won't even get a point of for this day, I suppose. So for third in the French champion hurdle is probably not too bad. But yeah, I thought she was interesting, and I'd say the market could be informative on her. But I'm with Tatara in there. I'd say she could take a bit of beating. But Caliconti, definitely 4-year-old, she could be on the up as well. That's Paddy's shout in that one. But I think we'll go on to the big race of the day in Leopardstown on the Sunday. It's 2:30. It's the Nagle Hotels Grade 1 hurdle over the 2 miles, and we saw, I suppose, last year out in Constitution Hill, this might be a light version of it with State Man and Brighterdaysahead, but they definitely served up a massive treat when they met at Punchestown earlier this year. I was shocked, to be honest, that Brighterdaysahead was able to live with State Man at all, and even given State Man should come on plenty. She surprised me, the mare, last time, Paddy. But you'd probably imagine State Man will reverse it this time.
I'm not sure, Emma. Like, Willie's Gallop is the deepest in the country, and I'm not buying into Willie's Take a Run. Do you know that sort of way? I think when the ground gets a bit heavier, that they have an advantage because they're working on it at home, and most of his horses like a good cut in the ground or even heavy ground suits them better. I think the mare, I think she's kind of missed the last on her 2 runs this year and still battled back and won. So I don't know, are we kind of overlooking him? You know, listen, Stayman sets the standard. He's champion hurdler. He's been there. He's done it. This mare, I think, has a lot of talent, and I think if she does it clear on the jumping, and I'd say they'll probably ride the same way again on Sunday. And yeah, it's just a great race. You know, you've a smashing horse in Stayman. What's he won? 9 grade 1s or something like that. A young filly on the way up. Yeah, I'm going to stick with her, to be honest with you. And I don't think I would have until the last run. Stayman came there. He headed her. And, okay, he might have had a blow, but he got his head in front of her. She battled back after missing the last. So if she'd have won the last, he wouldn't have got to her, and she'd have won easier. And then we've been saying, oh, well, maybe not. So I'll just stick with her for the price. I'll go with her, yeah.
Yeah, I can see as well. I think you can mark it up a fair bit as well. Like you kind of mentioned her jumping. Like she didn't jump like as slick as Stateman did anyway. I suppose I know he made a mistake at the last or whatever, but like she can floor a hurdle and she can go out a bit to her left a small bit as well. And like if she can get that straight, I mean, imagine like you said, Sam will try and stretch it, make it a bit of a test of stamina. Look, I don't want to have a bet on myself now, but like I can definitely see the case. I don't think it's going to be as much of a walkover as maybe some people might think it will be. But another one to mention, Mystical Power, obviously very good novice hurdler last year, totally blew out. You can't really say that was his true running last time at Newcastle. Would you give him any chance of bouncing back? Could he get in the frame here at all?
I don't think so. And it was too bad of a run the last day. I don't know. Would you have kept them in JP's colours for the look? Something like that would come into my head as a rider. You'd be thinking, Jesus, why did you change the colours? We'll go back to JP or something. Like Richie hasn't bought him off JP. They all bought him in a partnership. I think John Magner's in him as well. So. Just very disappointed the last day. Raced a little bit keenly, and then the minute he dropped the bridle, he just didn't want it. He surprised me last year for the races he won, to be honest, because I wasn't his biggest fan all along. I didn't think his bumper was that good of a bumper. He struggled around Ballinrobe, but just got get better and better. But yeah, look, when they throw in one like that early in the season, it's very hard to kind of have any confidence that they can go and beat Grade 1 winners then, in better company again, a way better race again. But yeah, just no, I can't have him.
Yeah, no, I'd kind of be in the same boat. I wasn't really sure if he was going to be champion or quality anyway, but just had no race at all the last time. Strange, because like last year he kind of seemed to surprise people, and then maybe the one day they're expecting him to show up and put in a big race, he disappointed completely. So he has a bit of a mountain to climb there as well. And compared to the race that Stateman and Brighterdaysahead had at Punchestown, like he'd be a long way behind that if he doesn't pick himself up massively. But so you're going to go Brighterdaysahead in this one. It'll be a no bet for me, but I think it'll be maybe a little bit closer than the market suggests. I think Stateman is definitely the one. He'll definitely improve, I'd say. But Brighterdaysahead, there's no reason why she won't either. But I think we've covered most of the major action over the weekend. Anyway, we'll try and keep it short and sweet. But Paddy, before I leave you go, I'll ask you for your best bet over the weekend at Leopardstown or Limerick.
We didn't touch on probably my best bet, Ballyburn. Yeah, so Sergino, Ballyburn, great matchup. I think Ballyburn is probably, I don't know why he's been underrated going into this race. I know Sergino was impressive the last day, but that was a hurdle race. Ballyburn has a run over fences under his belt. I don't think Paul will make the running on him. I think he'll get a lead. I think he'd be much better with a lead. Ruby said he didn't jump like a proper 2-miler, but I think he just had a look at his fences and was doing it very easy, and Paul was happy to kind of let him fiddle away and learn his trade. Yes, that's going to be a great race today. And another little horse there in the Paddy Power handicap, Pinkerton. I think he's a great chance. I think he's 8-1 for the Paddy Power. Horse's form all year has been so solid. He's been up there with the best of them. He's got a rider on him claiming that probably has thousands of winners road, point field. So it's a bit of a trick to see him with £7. Yeah, he's Pinkerton would be my bet. Paddy Power. I think Ballyburn's my best bet. Is he 6-4? I think.
Yeah, I think it was kind of questioning a bit the form of the Willie Mullins horses over the last day or two, but I'd say it's a bit of an overreaction to maybe a couple of horses disappointing. I couldn't get on that boat myself either, to be honest. Seems a bit mad, but yeah, perfect stuff. We've got a couple of there for Friday in Leopardstown as well. I'd say, look, I'll go. I think Galopin Des Champs. I think he's going to win the Savills, but I think maybe a better price, Dancing Jeremy, each way in the Tim Duggan wouldn't be a bad bet at all. But thanks very much for all of that input, Paddy. I hope you found a few winners for the viewers. And make sure and like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. We'll be back on Monday to review, I suppose, all the action with Vincent and Johnny again. But thanks for tuning in, and happy Christmas.